Hey everybody, so welcome back to week 2 of Writing 122Z. For our video this week, I wanted to start off with going over the answers for the database scavenger hunt that I had you do during week 1. So we're going to start off with just going through the answers of what I was hoping that you would find on the scavenger hunt. However, if you found different results, that's totally okay. There was a disclaimer at the bottom of the sheet that said if you ended up in a different spot, that's okay. I just mostly wanted to walk you through what was I looking for you to find for this and what might you have found differently. Totally fine if it's different. The main thing that I wanted you to practice was using databases, because using databases for research is going to be a huge part of our class. So we're going to start off with Google Scholar. The first question I asked you was just to type in Super Mario, and you could tell that was the theme in our first video. I switch up the theme every few quarters, but I asked you to type in Super Mario, and I asked you what is the name of the second search result on the list. And so you should have received this one with just a basic search. So playing Super Mario induces structural brain plasticity, gray matter changes resulting from training with a commercial video game. So that was the second search result. So if you ended up in a different spot, could be maybe you're logged in differently, you might be using a different browser, something like that. I'm using Google Chrome. But that was the second search result, and I asked you next, what was the name of the journal that it's published in? And you can tell just based on this little green writing right below the title, it says molecular. We're getting an idea of what journal it's published in, but we're going to click on the name of the article, and as it loads, you'll notice it's in italics here. So journal names are usually italicized because they're major publications, but this journal is Molecular Psychiatry. So that was the name of the journal. Okay. So we're going to go back to the search results page though, and then I asked you to use the advanced search. So in the top left corner of the screen, there are the 3 little lines, right? So I asked you to click on that to locate the advanced search. And then in the box labeled with the exact phrase, I asked you to type in the word history. So with the exact phrase, history, and then we're going to search and see how that might have changed the results that we received. So it loaded. The next question was, what type of source are the first 3 that are listed? And so you'll notice the first 3 sources all have something in brackets right before the title. They're all books. So they're all books. Google Books will also generate from Google Scholar, and Google Books is another really good resource that you can use for research. And they let you have previews of a lot of books that you can look through. So it's pretty nice. But all 3 of those first sources are books. But what I'm asking you to do is click on the 6th search result. So if we look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm asking you to scroll down a little bit. It is Super Mario 2. So it should be this result, okay? And then I asked you to click on it and look for the first 3 keywords that are associated with the source. My hint there was that it's located below the abstract of the source. So you had to click on it to find it. You'll see the abstract, and as you scroll down, there are a few keywords listed here. And what are keywords? They're things that will help you search when you're looking for research. So these are some of the keywords that these authors associated with this topic, this research. Leadership, responsibility, responsiveness were a few of the first, were those 3 first keywords. Okay. Then I asked you to return to the main Google Scholar search page. You're keeping Super Mario as your main search term, but we're going to go back to the advanced search and remove history. But we are going to put in a date range and see what you can find. And the date range that I gave was 2001 to 2005 for this search. And then click search, see what comes up. This really limits what you receive once you do your search, in terms of these are things that are only published between these years. What is the author of the second search result was the question. The second search result is called Terminator or Super Mario, Human-Computer Hybrids, Actual and Virtual. And you can see the author's name here, N. Herzfeld, but if we click on it, we'll be able to see a little bit more detail. But the author's name is Noreen Herzfeld of that source. And then the last question on the database scavenger hunt for Google Scholar was, in which volume and issue number was this article published? You can see that right at the top right here. This was volume 44, issue 4 in winter 2005, and the journal was Theology Dialogue. So that was the end of Google Scholar. Now we're going to switch over to Academic Search Complete and see if you were able to find some of similar results over here. So again, if you ended up in a different spot, that's okay, but you might want to see You know, were you using a different browser? Did you change the keywords? Did you change anything small about the search you were doing? Because even the smallest thing will change the results that you get, down to spacing, spelling, and even using different pronunciation symbols. So one quarter I had my class search Pokemon, and someone used the accent over the E and someone didn't, and they got totally different results. So really interesting. Well, let's switch over to Academic Search Complete. We are on the Oregon Tech Library website. We're in EBSCO, Academic Search Complete. The very first question I asked you to do, same as before, was type in Super Mario to the search bar. You're just going to click search. And then what is the name of the fifth search result, was the question here. And this one labels it for you. It's really nice. They number the searches for you. But the fifth result was sound meaning mapping, verbal imitation of Super Mario music by Yoruba gamers. So really interesting. That was number 5. And then I asked you what journal does the article appear in and what year. You can tell by looking at the information right below. This is in language sciences, but the other way we can tell is if we click on the article name. The source says language sciences, the volume, the year, the issue, all that information there. So this was in language sciences. What I wanted you to do here was click on the name of the journal. So we're going to actually click on that hyperlink that says language sciences. Okay, and it will redirect us. I'm asking you to click on search within this publication, and it will redirect us again to the search bar. And I'm asking you, don't put in any other words. It'll automatically generate JN language sciences. And we're just going to click search and see what comes up. My question here was, what is the name of the 7th search result? And again, they number it really nice. If you scroll down to number 7, it was, how does language evolve as a multi-level system? A quantitative exploration of written Chinese. So we've gotten kind of away from Super Mario here, but it's this function where you can search within a journal lets you see what other research people are doing that's getting published in similar journals. Okay, so that was number 7. My question here for you was, does this have a downloadable PDF? And so let's do some digging to find out. My first recommendation is to click. This one actually does not. So this one does not have a downloadable PDF available to you. The way that you'd be able to see that is over here on the left-hand column. There would be HTML or PDF link for you to download. There is not one, so there's not any. But there is an option that says find it at Oregon Tech. So I'm going to click on find it and see where that redirects us to. Should go to the Oregon Tech Library website. So if you don't have a direct PDF that you can download, this is my next recommendation, is to click on find it. It'll ask you to sign in to find other versions or other places that you can find this article. The other thing I wanted to mention from this page, though, is this link right here that says request an ILL article or chapter about 4 days. So ILL is interlibrary loan. If you ever don't have access to an article that you think is going to be really interesting and really useful to you when you're researching, you'll want to try interlibrary loan, because our librarians can get you access usually in 4 days or less, or fewer. So in the past, when I've requested articles for research, there were times when I received it within 24 hours, really quickly, and they email you as a follow-up. So it's a really helpful resource, interlibrary loan, okay? Anyway, so this one does not have a downloadable PDF. Okay, so we're going to keep going. I asked you to return to the home page of Academic Search Complete. We're on number 11 if you're walking through the database search with me. Under the search bar is a section labeled Search Options, and I asked you to look through search options for an option that says Periodicals Owned by OIT. So we're going to click that option, and we're going to keep Super Mario in the search bar, but nothing else. And we're going to do Periodicals Owned by OIT specifically, and we're going to click Search. And the next question I had here was, how many search results are there? There are only 11 search results, so it definitely narrows it down a lot more if you're looking for things, periodicals specifically, that we own. What type of source is the first result? It's a periodical. So the main difference here is when you're looking at this little icon right next to your source, it tells you what type it is. So this is a periodical. What that means, it's usually published in some sort of newspaper, magazine, something that comes out periodically. Journals do too, but it's a little bit different for journals because you have to pay to subscribe, that sort of thing, and they're not always accessible online. But this is a periodical, and I asked you the very last question of the Academic Search Complete database scavenger hunt portion was, what did this article appear in? So where did it appear in print, what publication or source, and it is New Scientist. So New Scientist is that source, okay? That was the last question of our database scavenger hunt. So if you ended up in a different spot, again, that is okay. I mostly wanted you to practice database searching and to see how your search changes depending on tiny things that you change about your search, right? Advanced searching, spelling, keywords, that'll all impact the sources that you find. So anyway, I'm not grading you on what answers you ended up finding, mostly about did you complete it and were you able to practice using a research database. So if you have questions about using research databases, definitely let me know. This was only a walkthrough of 2 of the most common research databases and 2 of my recommended ones, but there are many more that exist. So anyway, let me know if you have questions.